You strike me as a particularly icy and remorseless man, Mr. Dufresne. It chills my blood just to look at you. By the power vested in me by the state of Maine, I hereby order you to serve 2 life sentences back to back. 1 for each of your victims. So be it.
First, a who's who's for the story. Andy is a young banker who is one day accused of killing his wife and her golf-playing lover after he found her cheating. Though wrongfully accused, he is convicted and must serve 2 consecutive life terms at Shawshank prison. At the prison, he goes through many hardships like inmates fishing for the newcomers, physical and sexual abuse from the sisters gang, etc. Using his financial skills, he helps out a guard, which results in him making friends with Red and the other inmates, while also getting promoted to assisting in the library to help the other guards with their finances.
The following April, Andy did tax returns for half the guards at Shawshank. Year after that, he did them all, including the wardens. Year after that, they rescheduled the start of the intramural season to coincide with tax season. The guards on the opposing teams all remembered to bring their W-2s.
So Moresby Prison issued you your gun, but you actually had to pay for it.
Right, the holster too.
See, that's tax deductible. You can write that off.
Yes, sir. Andy was a regular cottage industry. In fact, it got so busy at tax time, he was allowed a staff.
The prison warden then begins implementing outside work programs that use prison labor to launder money, using a fake identity crafted by Andy.
It's a river of dirty money running through this place. Channel it, filter it, funnel it. Stocks, securities, tax-free municipals. I send that money out into the real world, and when it comes back...
Clean as a virgin's honey potter.
Cleaner. By the time Norton retires, I'll have made him a millionaire.
I know you're good, Andy, but all that paper leaves a trail. It's gonna lead to somebody.
Sure it is, but not to me. And certainly not to the warden. Randall Stevens.
Who?
The silent partner. He's the guilty one, Your Honor. The man with the bank accounts.
But who is he?
He doesn't exist, except on paper.
All the while, Andy persistently asks and eventually gets funding from the state to improve upon the prison library and help inmates get high school diplomas from prison. After he befriends a man named Tommy, Tommy tells him he knows who murdered his wife and her lover. After this, the warden refuses to help him get a retrial and sends him into isolation and kills Tommy. As a result, when the time becomes right, Andy escapes to the outside and takes the warden's laundered money for himself. Using this money, he travels to Zihuatanejo, Mexico, and finally lives a peaceful life as a hotel owner with his fellow former inmate Red. In the story, Warden plays the role of the antagonist. At first, his actions aren't necessarily evil. In fact, in a way, they help Andy. For instance, by reassigning Andy to be a library assistant, he helps give Andy a chance to escape from the sister gang's attacks. Additionally, when Andy asks if he can send letters to a representative to ask for more funds for the library, the warden doesn't refuse, but instead lets him do so, while reminding him that the chances of him getting funds is slim. However, as the warden Norton begins using Andy's financial managing knowledge to his commercial benefit, his character becomes more and more corrupt. It first just starts with Andy giving help towards the prison guards with consultation and taxes. However, this escalates with Norton's implementation of the Inside Out program.
A genuine progressive advance in corrections and rehabilitation. Our inmates, properly supervised, will be put to work outside these walls, performing all manner of public service. These men can learn the value of an honest day's labor while providing a valuable service to the community and at a bare minimum of expense to Mr. and Mrs. John Q. taxpayers.
Of course, Norton failed to mention to the press that bare minimum of expense is a fairly loose term. There are 100 different ways to skim off the top. Men, materials, you name it. And oh my Lord, how the money rolled in.
From here we can see him use the slave labor of his prisoners to drive out competitors with their low prices and force people to bribe him to save their futures. Not only this, but also Warden Norton makes Andy come up with a fake identity as Randall Stevens, as aforementioned, so that he can launder some money on the side. To put a cherry on top, not only does he prevent Andy from getting out of prison through legal means, he also puts him in isolation and cold-heartedly kills Tommy for just trying to help. After Andy reveals what he was doing, he kills himself. In the book, he faces this crime quietly and then retires. But the movie highlights the hypocrisy of Warden's criminal enterprise, promoting the morals of Christianity while breaking them. There is a very memorable quote when Andy says,
You know, the funny thing is, on the outside, I was an honest man, straight as an arrow. I had to come to prison to be a crook.
This shows the difference between the two. Andy was an up-and-coming banker, good and a law-abiding citizen, and just put in the wrong place at the wrong time, forced by the system's hierarchy to engage in corrupt practices in Shawshank. But Norton was the exact opposite. While he appears to be a morally righteous Christian man on the surface, behind the scenes, he's a slimy business owner, ready to punish anyone he finds annoying, whether it be Tommy ruining his laundering business, or just simply someone asking,
When do we eat?
Another difference is the power dynamics. Andy, a prisoner, is susceptible to Norton's demands, forced to help with financial aid, be imprisoned in isolation for disobeying, etc. In this way, Andy, Red, and all the other prisoners are underdogs against the all-powerful Warden. But after years of planning and patience, Andy rebels against his oppressor through smart planning. Andy's patience and non-careless attitude is portrayed all across the movie, making the conclusion of the movie seem unexpected yet perfectly in character for him. For instance, how he's constantly sending letters once and later even twice a week for funds for the library.
They couldn't buy him off with just a $200 check. Appropriations Committee voted an annual payment of $500 just to shut him up.
These characterizations of Andy justify his resilience and showcase how he was able to escape.
Geology is the study of pressure and time. That's all it takes, really. Pressure and time.
Norton wasn't stupid. He knew that Andy would be resistant towards helping him. That's why Andy had to be meticulous and wait a while after his release from isolation and the death of Tommy before he could escape. As Red said, in prison, a man will do most anything to keep his mind occupied. And Andy used this time to plan out his revenge and go against all the odds stacked up against him to make light of the corruption in Shawshank and rebel against the system. Thank you for watching this video and have a nice day.